Wait a minute. Let's get into it. So, as you see in the title, part two on what loved ones should or should not do during a crisis. All right, this one is going to be short, simple, and sweet. Number one, if someone says to you, "Hey, I feel like a crisis is coming," don't ask them, "How do you know?" That's like asking a pregnant lady, "How do you know when the baby is kicking?" I can feel it. I know my body. We all should know our body. So, which means we should feel the slightest change or the slightest shift in our bodies, especially when it comes to sickle cell, because the minute you feel something, you want to combat that before it turns into something huge that may lead you into the hospital. Okay? So, when you ask us, how do you know? Sometimes it seem insensitive, to some people. It also could seem as though you don't believe me and you feel as though I trying to just get a fix of morphine or some type of painkillers from the hospital or at home. Nah. If I tell you that I can feel a crisis come on, take my word for it. Now, of course, there are other people, I sad to say, that may use sickle cell as a leverage to get in and out of things or to get what they want and use it as a manipulation tactic. But that's not what this video is about. All right. So if someone says that they're feeling something coming on, take their word, please. All right. Number two, if you come from a praying background, you know, you are a praying mother, father, wife, brother, whatever. Don't chastise the person going through a crisis and ask them why they're not praying, why they're not declaring healing over the person is in pain, excruciating pain at that. Their mindset, like I said in the last video, we're trying to uh, preserve our breath, because a crisis, this sickle cell is also associated with oxygen levels. So we're not really in the right frame of mind, some of us, to pray like you would like for us to do or like we should. And this is where you come in. You stand in the gap for me. Stand in the gap for your brother, for your sister, for your son, your daughter, your husband, or your wife. Because they're not in a position. Just like in Ezekiel 22 and 30, Moses had to do it for the same people that were brought out of Egypt because God was going to destroy them. Abraham had to do the same thing as well. Then you see the same thing in First Timothy, talking about standing in the gap of interceding for others. We should intercede for our brothers and sisters, so that they wouldn't be destroyed by sin. But in this case, they wouldn't be destroyed and succumb to the pain and the pressures of a crisis. And in some cases, they wouldn't be destroyed by the death of sickle cell. So if I'm not in a position to pray. And especially if you are familiar with me praying and declaring and being a man of faith, and you see me in this state and I'm not praying, please do me a favor and just intercede on my behalf. Be my brother's keeper. Okay? And number three, you must understand that during a crisis, what you consider comfortable or the natural or the norm is not the same for us. Let me explain. Anytime someone is sick and not feeling well, they have a headache or something, the first thing we like to say is have a seat, lay down, or get comfortable, or these other things. But in some cases, sitting down makes it worse. Laying down also makes it worse. Why? I'm not too sure. But for right now, what you need to understand is what you may consider uncomfortable may be comfortable for us. Okay? So you may say, sit down, but we're standing up, leaning on the wall. And you're wondering why you don't sit down, because standing up on the wall is actually giving us some relief. The minute we sit down, it goes into overdrive. You don't want that. You may say lay down. You don't want to lay down. You're sitting up, you're sitting down, and sitting up against the wall or against something hard, or we're laying down on the floor instead of laying down on the bed. You may see us in certain awkward positions like this, like that, or even this. And in some cases, hopefully not, you may see this.